All right. Good morning, friends. My name is Stu Williams. I am the artist behind Stu Art. Thank you for joining me. I'm real happy to kind of get on here. I missed yesterday. I apologize for that. But those that you that tune in on Sundays, I've got as I might have said in my last video, I got a lot going on right now. A lot of things happening. I decided to kind of have a super casual, quick Monday live video, kind of like sketch warm up and whatnot. I'm on here and I brought out my one of my old sketchbooks. I think it was in my first sketchbook tour, and I keep going back to this sketch of the Starjammers, and I want to kind of get on here and maybe talk a little bit about them and see what your feelings about the Starjammers are. For those that don't know, the Starjammers are a group of pretty much space pirates. They appeared in several issues of the Uncanny Xmen. They also appeared on the '80s cartoon series of the X-Men in I believe a five-part series in that cartoon, and not a lot of people know about them. So I didn't want to get too in detail of what they're about and the history of them because I don't want to get my facts wrong. I know a lot of comic book fans and people like that uh, are well versed in the Marvel universe. I like to feel that I am, but there's several years where I've put comics down and had to go back to them and get reacquainted with them. So occasionally I don't know what I'm talking about, but for the most part, I feel like I like to know what I'm talking about and thinking about, especially with all the awesome movies that are out now. Depicting all the Marvel universe. And as they get further and further into the series, especially with the Avengers, um, they bring light on new characters, um, new story hierarchs, like the scrolls and things like that. And maybe eventually they'll bring, you know, I don't know. I mean, it's my hope that they'll bring the X-Men and the Avengers together. Obviously, some of the X-Men have been part of the Avengers over the years. Most notably, Wolverine was a major part of the Avengers. Spider-Man, and all the majority of X-Men have kind of uh, played around with the Avengers for a little while. Um, Inking a character named Chode, or I'm probably getting the pronunciation of his name wrong. A lot of the Starjammers' names are a little bit difficult to pronounce. The female cat-like character right here in the upper right-hand corner, Hezabeth, the spelling of her name is quite awkward, and to actually pronounce the name it's a little challenge. But Chode is a lizard-like character. He is very large in the comic books, and he's supposed to be portrayed fairly large in life, kind of like a Hulk-like character. However, with that large stature and that that being said, he's a fairly gentle creature, and well-tempered and easygoing. He he was a slave. He was a slave to the Decan, uh, um, which the Starjammers kind of fight against all their life. There's the Decan ruler of the Shar Empire. They enslaved him. Um, Raz over here, and they also enslaved Kozar, um, and Hezebeth. And I say Kozar because that's the name that he was giving as a Starjammer, but he is actually Christopher Summers, the father of Scott and Alex Summers, which we all know as Cyclops and Havoc. Um, so Christopher and his wife were um, sent on a zoological scouting mission, and his wife Catherine was captured. Well, actually, they were both captured by the Shikar Empire. The Emperor got smitten with his wife Catherine, stole her from Christopher, and enslaved Christopher with Chad and Hazabeth and Raz, and in a slave mining colony, and that's where they got together. The Emperor eventually killed his wife, and that's kind of what started the whole banding together, starting the group, the Starjammers. That's the short stick of it, So they later joined up with people like Polaris and, um, and Lalandra over here. She eventually got smitten with Professor X, and they are an item, and I believe Lalandra is appears in the newer Dark Phoenix movie that's coming out, but I have not heard much about that movie. I don't even remember if it. I don't know when it was slated to come out, actually. So yeah, there's that. Once again, I'm just super casual. This ink pen's not quite working for me. I need to grab another one. So how's everybody going? How's everything going? Hope everybody's doing great. It's a nice Monday morning here, in and around Portland. Actually, yesterday was really nice, but today, plan on getting a little bit of rain. So not looking forward to that. problem with inking early in the morning is I have a little bit of the coffee shake. And I don't know if some of you inkers out there get it, but it's very stressful when I'm trying to do straight lines. And get a nice flow. Let's see if we can do a little bit of hazardous. So, I say there's a lot going on, but, as far as my art career and things of that have been going, things have been going well. No new news. There is a couple of announcements that I've put on hold, just because they aren't coming up until the later part of the year. So I'm just kind of holding off on mentioning some of those. And there's no real rhyme or reason why I brought up this sketch. I was looking through this book, and I've always stopped on this sketch a few times because I really enjoyed putting it together at first, and then I never quite finished it. And for some of these more sharper details, I bring out the micron. With and I'd mentioned the Avengers movies and some of the story arcs that are kind of going with that. Obviously, you got the Skrulls and the Kree, starting, and being part of the storyline on the Avengers movies. Um, and after that, there's been talk, and I'm not really. To tell you the truth, I'm not really super happy with some of the character suggestions and kind of they're trying to bring in new characters and from the talk and whatnot. Some of the groups that they're trying to bring in are really just out in left field. They're not really predominant, and I don't know how I feel about it. It's sometimes I kind of am thinking, well, maybe they should just kind of keep going with their main characters and kind of feed off of some of their storylines and some of their story arcs. Then sometimes I just think that maybe the characters that they're trying to portray and bring out are just too far out there in left field, and they should think about some other characters that are more more mainstream, I suppose. When and I brought up the Starjammers because actually growing up in the 80s and kind of showing my age a little bit, but um, the Starjammers were in the comic books. I do remember them from my childhood, and they were pretty out there, so that, they had a memorable look, um, and although they were not very predominant, um, I don't think if they they had, I think they had their own comic book series for a little while, and they, I believe they also appeared in some of the Micronauts comic book series as well, but they definitely just did not catch on during that time frame. I think the basic fact that they were considered space pirates probably killed it a little bit, at the time at least. Elizabeth has always been considered a cat-like character, and actually, when she was um, first thought out and drawn for the comic book, she had shorter um, hair that was not as flowing as some of the newer ones, and as the one that she appeared in the comic or the cartoon series with the Xmen. But I kind of like both versions. Drawing the long-haired version today. And as far as inking, occasionally I'll ink over a pretty rough sketch, but this sketch in itself is fairly detailed, as I because the original sketch actually was I planned on it being just that, but just to make the images a little bit more vivid, I decided to go ahead and ink some of it. All right, so there you have it. The Starjammers. I'm going to kind of continue to ink this a little bit offline. I don't want to make this video too long. Tell me if you like the Starjammers. I appreciate it. And how do you think about the story arcs in the Marvel comic universe as far as the movie goes on? Please leave a comment in the comments below. Please like, comment, and subscribe. As always, I appreciate you guys. Much love. Take care.